James had always prided himself on being a devoted husband. He and Emily had been married for 10 years, their love seemingly unbreakable. They had built a life together, one filled with laughter, dreams, and promises whispered in the dark. But all of that was about to change. It started subtly. Small shifts in Emily's behavior that James initially dismissed as work stress. She would come home later than usual, her phone always clutched in her hand with an urgency that had not been there before. She smiled less, spoke in shorter sentences, and avoided eye contact. James wanted to believe it was all in his head, that the woman he loved could never betray him, but doubt gnawed at the edges of his sanity. One evening, as Emily showered, James did something he never imagined he would. He checked her phone. His hands trembled as he unlocked it, his heart pounding against his ribs. The messages he found shattered him. "I can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" The sender's name was saved as M. James felt as if the floor had given way beneath him. His world, the one he had carefully constructed with Emily, was crumbling. He scrolled through the messages, each one cutting deeper than the last. The evidence was undeniable. Emily was having an affair. He confronted her that night. She denied it at first, her face a mask of feigned innocence. But as he presented her with the text, her expression shifted from shock to guilt. "James, I never meant for this to happen," she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. It just did." Anger boiled inside him. "Who is he?" he demanded, his voice barely above a growl. Emily hesitated, then looked away. "Matthew. We met at work. It started as nothing, just friendly conversations. But then it became more." James clenched his fists. "More? You mean you lied to me, to our marriage?" She sobbed. "I never wanted to hurt you. I love you, James." He laughed bitterly. "Love? You call this love? If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this." Days turned into weeks, filled with sleepless nights and endless questions. James couldn't understand why she had done it. Had he not been enough? Had their life together been so meaningless to her? The betrayal festered like an open wound, refusing to heal. One evening, James decided he needed answers from the man who had stolen his wife's affection. He found Matthew's address, thanks to a colleague at Emily's workplace. His fists clenched as he approached the door, his pulse roaring in his ears. Matthew was younger than James expected, with sharp features and an easy confidence that James immediately despised. "James, I assume," he said, leaning against the doorframe. James's jaw tightened. "How long?" Matthew sighed. "A few months. It wasn't supposed to be serious. But she was unhappy, and I guess I made her feel something she thought she lost." The words were a dagger to James's chest. "You destroyed my marriage." Matthew met his gaze, unflinching. "No, James. Your marriage was already broken. I was just the symptom." James wanted to hit him, to make him feel even a fraction of the pain he felt. But instead he walked away, his heart heavier than before. The confrontation did little to ease his torment. Emily begged for forgiveness, promising to end things with Matthew, to rebuild what they had lost. But could James ever trust her again? In the end, James made the hardest decision of his life. He left. Love was not enough when trust had been shattered beyond repair. As he walked away from the home they had built together, he realized that sometimes love stories didn't have happy endings, and sometimes betrayal was the only way to see the truth.